link, the YouTube link. We definitely should get this automated in a way, but I don't see how.
We need to write an Elixir script for that.
Oh yeah, I love that. I will do that instead of the spec tests. Not starting now. Okay, we shared the link in Telegram. We're ready to go. The first one in my list today is God's Power. So you want to start?
Yeah. So I've been on the Beacon blocks by range, and it's kind of confusing because um, what the implementation says and what I'm supposed to do is kind of different. But basically, I made some updates, and um, when I get like comments, I'll see what I need to change. But yeah, yesterday I worked on that. I've made some updates, so I now use um, chunks, chunks basically. If that makes sense. So yeah, I was working on that, and I will also work on that today based on the comments because now I'm relying on the comments because what I thought I was supposed to implement is a bit different. So I would take it from there.
Yeah, that's perfectly reasonable. It's a non-trivial PR. Are you blocked or are you just like steadily going forward?
Um, okay, so I think I don't know when it's finished because it's just like I need to keep changing stuff. So I would not say I'm blocked because I'm constantly getting feedback. But yeah,
So just to make it clear, when you say that you don't know when it's finished, do you say that because you are not sure about how to test it, or because you don't know, like if you will need to make more changes because like something might change?
okay, so first, yes, it's I don't see test cases for others, but at the same time, some of the other ones are similar, kind of some things are hard coded, which says that okay, maybe we are not using it yet. So some things I just hard coded there and like replace. So and also I don't know when it's finished because like based on Lighthouse implementation, I see some things that are different than what I'm implementing. So it's based on what Thomas Martin say. Okay, this is like not supposed to be here. And okay, so yeah, it's a mix of both of them.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Like if you need any help on that, like, please let us know and we can help you. Um, but yeah, I understand. It's one of the less trivial PRs ongoing right now because it like it's different from like spec related uh, features because they at least have they have the spec tests. Spec tests are completely unfriendly, but they are still tests. Like they still let you know, hey, you're going well, you're doing things right. If you don't have that, and especially working with networking, that can be tricky. So if you need any help, like trying to see how to test that, and when I say test that, I don't only mean like unit testing, because sometimes you cannot unit test networking. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But at least manual testing. Like if you need any pointers towards that, like please let us know and we can just continue the discussion over there.
Yeah. So Thomas suggested a way to do that. Yeah, I'll add that when at least the basic structure of the function is makes sense based on the comments. Then yeah.
Well, okay, great. Thanks you for the update then. In my list, Meta is next. Do you wanna go next?
Yep. I'm after the last daily. I had 30 failures, and I just made them zero now. I'm basically done with the attester slashing part, but I'm just I will just add in some enhancements from Thomas G's updates, the comments, and but there is an issue in the CI part of the GitHub, like the while I made the pull request, It's the spec tests are failing, but I tested them line by line on my local environment, and they passed. I don't know why, but let's see what happens next.
Yeah, like we'll need to debug this offline, but like when I mean offline, I mean after a daily. But I think that it's highly probably related to like the configs or like environment variables or something like that, or cache. But in the case of spec tests, I wouldn't think of cache as a problem. But we need to debug that. We can do that after the daily. Thank you, and congrats on fixing the spec tests. That's great progress. Fernando, do you want to go next?
Yes. I keep working in the serialization part. Thanks to Mega comments, I did some refactors to the logic, and it's going better. Right now, I am creating some unit tests in order to check some kind of edge cases, serialization and deserialization cases. Um,
Awesome, that's great. Sorry, were you about to say something more?
no, that is all.
Okay, perfect. Do you see if we are near a point where we can start merging a first PR, or it is in an ongoing thing that we are thinking about merging when all of the SSZ library is done? Like how are you managing that right now?
I think the logic of the serialization realization is almost done. With the unit test, I want to check some cases like inline list of variable length. And yeah, after that, it will be only necessary to implement all the schemas to the structures. Yeah, that is all
Awesome.
right now.
Something that we can do. Maybe this was originally your plan, so I'm not. So let me know if that's the case. But something that we can do is after you're finished with this refactor and with the unit test for the edge cases, then we can just merge that PR so we can have that, and then we can add a new PR for like the all of the specific schemas. Does that make sense for
Yeah,
you?
yeah, that would be a good idea.
Awesome. Yeah. It's always nicer to have some of your code merged in the code base. And it also saves you some time from conflicts and other stuff. So, yeah. Okay, we'll do that then. What else? Yeah, let's go to Tomas next.
Yeah, yesterday I started work on process rewards and penalties. Um, After that, we had a little meeting to discuss how uh, discuss current progress and next steps. And I left that in a draft PR and started work on the on-tick handler for fork choice. I already made a PR and finished that. Today, I think I'm gonna work on the on block handler, or maybe add some validation, something like that, to continue work on the fork choice integration.
I think that the unblock one is the best one to
Okay.
continue. Just to put everyone else into context, basically, we had a quick meeting yesterday because even if we're continuing the work on the client for many more months, we have our kind of a first deadline in a couple of weeks, which is the Dev Connect. So we're trying to reach Dev Connect with some level of something to show. So we discussed with Martin Palucci and with Tomas, like what kind of priorities do we have in order to have that like something that we can show. And we realized that we've been putting like our 95% of our efforts in the spec tests, which is great. We did all of those, but at the same time, those are not the most showable pieces of software because it's just tests. So what we are trying to do is connect some of the missing parts, like trying to connect the incoming blocks with the fork choice algorithm that's already coded, and trying to connect like the on tick with the fork tree store and try to connect a couple of things. And after we do that, we'll have something like fully working to show, even if we don't have all of the validations in place, and even if we don't have all of the spec tests working, because that's something that we will need to have for the finished product, but not for, well, product. You know what I mean, for the finished software. So yeah, that's just what we were doing. So Tomas is taking a couple of the handlers. I'll probably be taking one of the other ones, like the fork choice one. And Martin, I think, was working on making Martin Palucci was making sure that like the checkpoint sync is fully working, because now we have our first checkpoint download, which is that we get one first beacon state from a peer, but then we need to make sure that we get all of the blocks since that checkpoint and until the present time. And that part is working, but very slow, and we're trying to speed it up. One of the things we're doing for that is we're requesting ranges of blocks from peers, which is the opposite of what God's Power is doing. Like God's Power is implementing that for so that other peers can request that from us. We're trying to request that from other peers. So yeah, so sorry for the interruption, but I was trying to put everyone in context on how, like, what's the big picture of the project at this moment. So yeah, that's the plan, and we'll try to have something showable like fork choice being applied in a couple of weeks for Dev Connect, so that we can show the progress of the client. Then after that, we'll just continue with the rest of the client, but we're trying to make something showable for them. Yeah. Did you have anything else, Thomas? Sorry that I interrupted you.
No, I just wanted to add that adding this integration might make it more clear how state transition and operation applying like integrates with the rest of the node, in which parts it would be called and things like that.
Yeah, completely. Currently, everything related to spec tests is kind of floating around. Like we're just making sure they pass the tests, but they are not being called in Node. And especially, like, not even after on tick, but after on block, which is the one that Thomas is going to start working now. That's going to be extremely clear, because that's like one of the centerpieces of calling the rest of the functions. So thank you. Yeah, as for me, I'm the last to give the update. I've mostly been working on, well, yesterday I did some work on the diff functionality, because Mete tried to use it and it didn't work at first because I wasn't applying that to structs. I made a fix for that. Then Thomas added a way to add assertions on top of that, which is very nice. We can make it the default in other spec tests as well, because I think that he applied it just for epoch processing, but we can apply them for the other ones. Is that the case, or did you apply them for all?
No, just for epoch processing.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to apply those for their own spec test, you can just copy from epoch processing. What else? I worked a little bit on that, and then I went back to preparing the workshops because I was getting behind on that. And I started translating the Erlings, which is the Lambda exercises to learn Erlang, into Elixir. So I'm just translating that so that nobody needs to actually learn Erlang to learn Elixir. I don't think that's a very I don't think that would be very like a good priority for your time in the bootcamp if you also needed to learn Erlang. So I'm just taking care of translating that and preparing a bootcamp for next week. We still don't know what specific time, but from what we were talking about a couple of minutes before the daily started, we will probably do that on Thursday after the daily or something like that. So probably next week, Thursday after the daily, we can have our first workshops. Yeah, I think that's it. Any final comments or questions?
Yep. I just run the make clean tests, and I found out that it's not about my spec test. It's about the attestation spec test. Maybe when I was merging, there were some differences in the functions. Their duplicates. Maybe it's because of that. I'll check that out and probably be done with that in today. I guess I hope so.
Yeah, that's awesome. But it seems like you got unblocked by yourself again, so that's awesome. But if
Yeah, yeah.
you get blocked again, don't hesitate on getting some help from us. Congrats on that. Okay, yeah, I think we can finish the daily for today. Thank you for joining. Oh, you have a question? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry for that.
So the on-tick on block, what are those set of underscore?
Sorry, could you repeat that? I think that the audio wasn't very good and couldn't hear you very well.
Yeah, you said the command implemented on-tick and you implement on block. What are they called? Those set of functions.
I think that I didn't heard the last part. I'm very sorry, but you said that Thomas implemented on Tick and then he's going to implement on Block. What was the last part?
Yeah, those handlers, like what are they called? Like those handlers, antique, unblock.
Those handlers like unblock should be is the way we notify the fork choice how when a new block was found, and on tick would be called every second. It just like updates the internal clock we have that we use in state transitions and on other handlers, and also update some variables in whenever we hit the slot mark or epoch mark.
Okay, awesome. I think that's our last one. Thanks for the question. So thank you all for joining today and see you all tomorrow.